Imagine standing in front of a mirror, staring at a reflection that feels off. Not because of the lines etching your face or the weight of the day pressing down, but because something deeper claws at you. A quiet whisper in the back of your mind asks, "Is this really me?" We've all been there. Those moments where life swirls like a storm, and we're just a fragile boat drifting, unsure if we'll sink or sail. Today, we're diving into something raw, something real. 10 signs of a weak man. This isn't about judgment or pointing fingers. It's about holding up a lantern to see ourselves clearly, to feel the cracks, and maybe, just maybe, to mend them. The Stoics understood strength in a way we often forget. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But what happens when that power slips? When the mind bends under pressure it wasn't built to break? This isn't about shame, it's about recognition. These signs aren't a checklist to condemn you, they're a map to guide you back to yourself. Weakness isn't a life sentence, it's a shadow that fades when you step into the light. Think about your own life. Those times you felt small, unseen, or stuck. Maybe it was a conversation you dodged, a dream you buried under excuses, or a fear you fed until it grew sharp teeth. We're going to walk through these 10 signs, slowly at first, letting each one sink into your bones. Then we'll build the fire, stoke the intensity, until you're standing taller than you were when we began. These aren't just words, they're mirrors. Picture a man lost in thick fog, searching for a lighthouse, or a cracked vase spilling water, desperate to hold itself together. Transformation starts here, in the quiet, in the unflinching honesty. So stick with me. Don't skip ahead. Every piece of this matters. If this resonates, drop a comment below with, "I am stronger than my shadows." Share your thoughts. Pass this along to someone who needs it, and hit that subscribe button. Let's build something together, a community, a reckoning, a rebirth. Because this journey, it's personal, it's emotional, it's yours. We're not here to wallow in the dark, we're here to claw our way out. These signs aren't the end, they're the beginning. A call to look inward, to confront what's broken, and to forge something stronger. So take a breath, steady yourself, and let's step into this together. The fog might be thick, but the lighthouse is closer than you think. Let's find it. Number 1. He runs from silence. Picture a man, a trembling silhouette, hunched in a room where shadows bleed into the walls, the world's roar dying beyond the glass. Silence creeps in, a predator, patient, unyielding, and he recoils. His hands claw for the phone, the remote, anything to summon a cacophony to slay the quiet. This is no mere restlessness. This is a man fleeing the abyss within, a coward sprinting from the gnarled, whispering jaws of his own soul. The first mark of a weak man. He runs from silence, not because it bores him, but because it flays him open, strips him bare, and he dreads the grotesque reflection staring back. Seneca, that Stoic titan, carved this truth in stone. All of humanity's torments erupt from man's terror of sitting alone, quiet, in a room. Stop. Breathe it in. When did you last dare to sit, unshackled by noise, and let your thoughts unfurl like a storm? Did they howl with regrets, jagged shards of yesterday slicing through you? Did they snarl with what-ifs, those phantom wolves gnashing at your peace? A weak man bolts from that war zone. He drowns the void with mindless clamor because silence is a mirror forged in ice, and he's too fragile to face its merciless gaze. feel it, don't you? That primal itch clawing beneath your skin when the stillness thickens. You've tasted it, scrolling X into the witching hours, fleeing the leaden weight of a day that bruised you. Or blasting sound, any sound, to outrun a choice that looms like a guillotine. This isn't habit, it's dread. Dread of the fissures splitting your core, dread of shrinking into the smallness you bury. But here's the gut-wrenching twist. That silence you flee. It's a crucible, a howling wilderness where iron is forged, where the soul learns to rise unbowed against the tempest. See him now, a man staggering through a maelstrom, rain like knives, wind shrieking his name. He runs, blind, desperate, when all he must do is halt, let the deluge sear his skin, and know it cannot shatter him. That's you. That's me. We've all fled, hearts pounding, shadows snapping at our heels. But the question burns, a brand on your bones. Will you keep running? Number 2, he craves approval, like a dying man, claws for breath. Picture him, a man drowning in a sea of faces, his chest caving in, ribs cracking under the weight of silence. He's not waiting for gold or glory. No, he's starving for a nod, a fleeting, well done, a whisper of, you're enough. The second mark of a weak man isn't vanity. It's a soul-gutting hunger for approval, a primal, trembling need to be seen. Without it, he's a ghost, unraveling into nothing, suffocating in the void of their indifference. Epictetus roared through the ages, "Freedom is not won by gorging on desires, it's forged in the fire of shredding them apart. Let that sear into you." A weak man doesn't just want the crowd's applause, he's shackled to it, his worth a fragile thread dangling from their fickle hands. He contorts, fractures, bleeds himself dry to fit their jagged mold. You've felt it, haven't you? That moment you swallowed your truth to dodge their frowns, your voice a caged bird clawing at its bars. Or when you sculpted your soul into a post on X, chiseling away every raw edge until it gleamed with their hollow likes, a stranger's words wearing your name. It's a venomous trap, a gut-wrenching dance on razor wire. Disapproval lands like a sledgehammer to the spine. Praise floods in like morphine, numbing the ache of being. He's a marionette, strings yanked by unseen hands, teetering on a tightrope over an abyss, begging, screaming for their cheers to carry him. But what if the rope's a lie? What if the crowd's a mirage, and the only fall is into yourself? This isn't swagger or pride. It's a rebellion, a soul-shaking unshackling. The weak man grovels for their crumbs because he's forgotten the wildfire in his bones, the untamed pulse that says he is enough. But you can snap those strings. You can stand in the wreckage of their silence and breathe. You can rise, unbowed, a colossus carved from your own marrow. Drop a comment below. I am enough as I am. Say it, feel it, let it thunder through you until the echoes shatter the sky. You don't need their air. You are the storm. Number 3, he blames the world for his chains. Imagine a soul drowning in its own echo, shackled not by iron, but by a venomous hymn of self-pity that reverberates through the marrow of existence. This is the third mark of a frail spirit. He curses the universe for the weight he refuses to lift. Not because fate has been gentle, oh no, but because it's simpler to howl at the abyss than to claw your way out of it. Marcus Aurelius thundered, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Let that sear into you. A weak man doesn't just stumble at the wall. He kneels before it, trembling, christening it his god of ruin. His failures? The fault of a cruel cosmos, a treacherous friend, a past that gnaws like a rabid beast. Picture it, a heart caged in thorns of its own weaving, bleeding resentment into the void. You've tasted it, haven't you? That molten rage when the world spins on, indifferent, when you scream into the gale, "Why me?" and the silence laughs back. But here's the jagged, unshakable truth. Those chains are forged in your own furnace. Life doesn't cradle you with promises. It hurls a sledgehammer at your feet and roars, "Shatter it!" The weak man flinches, spitting at the tool's imperfections, while the air grows thick with his excuses. I've choked on that poison. You've swallowed it too, blamed the tempest for drowning you when you never dared to swim. Envision it, a figure entombed in shadows of his own design, clawing at phantoms while a blazing torch gutters inches from his grasp. That's the abyss, believing liberation is a gift bestowed, not a war won. Strength isn't a quieter tongue, it's a fiercer soul. It's staring into the wreckage of your days and snarling, "I will rise." The world won't kneel to mend you. It never has. Will you? This isn't a whisper. It's a thunderclap to split your bones open and wake the titan inside. Stop gazing at the stars for mercy. They're cold. Seize the hammer. Forge your dawn. Let the weak man wail. His chains are his throne. You? You're meant to burn through them, unstoppable, until the earth itself trembles at your name. Number 4. He drowns in yesterday's waters. The past has claws, and some men let it tear them apart, piece by piece. There he stands, feet in the river, eyes locked on a past he can't touch, can't fix, can't relive. The water isn't deep, but he's sinking anyway, not because the current is strong, but because he's dragging the weight of every regret, every failure, every moment he lets slip through his fingers. The fourth mark of a weak man, he drowns in yesterday's waters. Not fighting, not swimming, just surrendering. The past doesn't haunt him, he haunts the past. He stalks the ruins of what was, running his fingers over the cracks, trying to resurrect the dead. The words he should have said, the hands he should have held, the paths he should have taken. He wears his regrets like chains, and every night they tighten. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." But what happens when that imagination becomes a tomb? When your mind becomes a battlefield where you keep losing the same war? When you relive your worst moments so many times, they start to feel more real than the present. That's the tragedy of a weak man. He lets a single storm define his entire sky. But here's the raw truth. The past isn't a home. It's a ghost town. No matter how many times you walk its streets, you'll never find life there. Every second spent drowning in yesterday is another second stolen from today. The strong man knows this. He doesn't beg the river to flow backward. He doesn't kneel before the past like it's a god. He breaks free. He turns his scars into armor, his regrets into fuel. He doesn't drift, he dominates the current. So, tell me, will you keep choking on the ghosts of yesterday? Or will you rise, rip off the chains, and breathe like a man who refuses to be buried alive? Number 5. He fears the mirror of truth. A man walks past a mirror, head low, feet rushing like he's escaping a crime scene. But the only crime, avoiding himself. He's not late. He's afraid. Afraid that the glass won't lie, that it'll strip away the illusions, the justifications, the carefully crafted mask he wears to survive. A weak man dreads the mirror. Not the one on the wall, but the one buried in his soul. He dodges honesty like it's a blade aimed at his throat, fearing it'll cut too deep, fearing it'll expose the truth. He's not who he pretends to be. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Sit with that. Feel it. Have you ever truly looked yourself in the eye and seen the man staring back? Not the version you show the world. Not the facade stitched together with half-truths and excuses, but the real you, the raw, unfiltered reflection. Or have you flinched, blinked, looked away? Weak men run. They hide behind, "I'm fine," when they're bleeding inside. They spit out, "It's not my fault," when the wreckage behind them says otherwise. They drown in distractions, numbing the gnawing voice inside, whispering, "Face yourself." But the mirror waits. It never begs. It never lies. It just shows. Imagine a man trapped in a house of mirrors, reflections on every wall, his flaws, his failures, his cowardice staring back at him. But instead of looking, instead of learning, he squeezes his eyes shut, fumbling, crashing into the same walls over and over. That's what fear does. It blinds, it binds, it buries. But strength? Strength walks up to the mirror, fists clenched, heart pounding, and stares back. Strength traces every crack, every wound, every scar, and says, "This is me." Not perfect, not invincible, but real. And real men don't run from truth. They use it. They sharpen themselves against it. They become more. So, tell me, when the mirror calls, will you turn away, or will you face it, unblinking, and finally see? Number 6. He bends to every breeze. A man stands in the storm. The wind rages, clawing at his skin, testing his bones. But he does not stand firm. He sways, he buckles, he twists himself to match the wind's demands. He is not a man. He is a shadow, a reflection of whatever force presses against him. This is the 6th mark of weakness. He is malleable, breakable, forgettable. A man without gravity. A man without weight. A man who does not belong to himself. He nods when he should object. He smiles when he should bare his teeth. He steps aside when he should stand his ground and hold it until his knuckles bleed. You've seen him. You've been him. Saying yes when your soul screams no. Agreeing with people who would spit on you if you dared to push back. Laughing along with men you despise. Forcing a grin when you should have shown your fangs. And then, when you're alone, you feel it. The sickness in your gut. The slow, creeping disgust that coils around your ribs and squeezes. That whisper in the back of your skull. You betrayed yourself. That's the moment weakness truly sinks its teeth in. Not when you fold, but when you realize you've lost another piece of yourself, and you do nothing to take it back. It's not kindness. It's not diplomacy. It's surrender. It's erasure. A man who bends to every breeze is nothing but smoke, swirling into nothingness. A man does not yield to every force like damp clay in another man's grip. A man is not a feather waiting for the wind to decide where he'll land. A man roots himself so deeply into the earth that the storm breaks before he does. So when the wind howls, when the pressure mounts, when the world demands your obedience, will you shatter? Or will you stand like a monument that will not be moved? Number 7. He feeds his fears like pets. A man sits alone in the dark, hands trembling, tossing scraps of his own strength to the beasts at his feet. They weren't always this big. They started as whispers, small, harmless, just a flicker of doubt in the back of his mind. But he fed them, named them, nurtured them like loyal pets. And now they rule him. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of humiliation. They curl around his ankles, waiting for their next meal. Every hesitation feeds them. Every excuse fattens them. Every time he backs down, they grow sharper teeth. A man like this isn't just afraid. He is owned by fear. The Stoics saw it clearly. Most of the battles a man loses never even happen. He folds before the fight begins, crushed under the weight of his own illusions. Fear isn't the enemy. His surrender to it is. Look at your own life. How many moments have you surrendered to fear? How many times have you silenced yourself, convinced that speaking would cost too much? How many dreams have you buried because the risk of failure felt heavier than the regret of never trying? A weak man makes his fears fat, then acts surprised when they devour him. But courage, it isn't the absence of fear. It's the choice to stop feeding the beast, to let it shrink, to let it starve. The difference between a man who lives and a man who merely exists is simple. One of them chains himself to his fears, the other burns the leash. So the question isn't whether you feel fear. Every man does. The question is, will you keep feeding it or will you let it die? Number 8. He trades time for comfort. A man on a couch, the world racing past him while he stays still, not because he's resting, but because he's hiding. The 8th sign of a weak man is his willingness to trade time for comfort. He sacrifices his future for a moment's relief. The easy choice now, the hard growth of tomorrow, both within his grasp, but one always slipping through his fingers. How long will you wait before you demand the best for yourself? Epictetus asks. That hits like a hammer, doesn't it? The Netflix binge instead of the project you promised yourself. The empty, familiar, "I'll do it later" that you've whispered too many times. The call of comfort is undeniable, tempting you into a false sense of security. I've fallen for it, lost hours, days even, to the chase of comfort, while my ambitions rotted in the background. Comfort isn't just a small indulgence, it's a thief. It steals your time, your drive, your future. It slips in unnoticed, convincing you to stay exactly where you are. The weak man chooses ease over effort, safety over growth. He doesn't see that with every second of comfort. He's sinking deeper into a hole, becoming more stagnant, more disconnected from the person he could be. Time isn't a gift to be squandered. It's a flame that demands your attention, your fuel. Every moment you trade for comfort, every hour wasted, is one less chance to become who you're meant to be. I've learned this the hard way, and so can you. Life isn't waiting. Will you keep choosing comfort, letting time slip by, or will you demand more from yourself, from your time, from your future? The clock's ticking. The choice is yours. Number 9. He shrinks from pain's lessons. See a man burned by a flame, running from it, not to heal, but to escape. The 9th sign of a weak man is his fear of pain's lessons. He sees suffering as a threat to flee, not a teacher to face. Every wound becomes a reason to hide, to avoid the discomfort that could reshape him. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing, Marcus Aurelius wrote. Life doesn't flow smoothly. It's a battle. Pain is the harsh coach, relentless, unforgiving, yet it's the only one who can make you stronger. Maybe it was a breakup that shattered you, a failure that cut deeper than you ever expected, or a loss that still rips through your chest. You've felt it, the burning need to numb it, to run from the ache, to bury it in distractions. I've done it too, dodging pain instead of using it as the raw material for transformation. But the weak man doesn't face it. He dodges, he shrinks, he misses the gold buried within the agony, the resilience that forms in the cracks, the wisdom that rises from the wreckage, the grit that forges in the fire. Visualize it. A man ducking from sparks, blind to the blade they could create. Pain isn't your enemy, it's the forge. It's the molten steel that will mold you into something unbreakable, something untouchable. But if you refuse to step into the heat, you'll stay weak, fragile, and lost. It's personal. That scar you hide, it could be your strongest armor. That pain you bury, it could be the key to your rebirth. The truth is, the more you shrink from it, the more you deny yourself the chance to rise. Life isn't trying to crush you, it's trying to shape you. Wrestle it. Let it tear you apart, only to rebuild you stronger. The question is, will you shrink from the lesson, or will you rise, fiercer than ever before, forged in the fire you once feared? Pain is the ultimate test. What are you made of? Number 10. He forgets his own fire. A man stands, staring at the ashes, blind to the roar that once consumed him. The flames are gone, but he doesn't even remember their heat. The 10th sign of a weak man. He forgets the fire that once burned him alive. His soul, once a blazing inferno, now smothered by a shallow, dim glow. A ghost of what he could have been. He's become a shadow of his potential, and so have you, and I. Seneca said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Living, not just existing, takes a wild, untamable courage. But the weak man has settled. He let the fire die. How many times have you let your passion crumble into dust? That hunger, that drive, gone. That fight you once had, you threw it away. Now all that remains is a numb ache, an emptiness where once there was purpose. It's the turning point. He's a phoenix who's forgotten how to rise. Imagine him, stomping on his own embers, blind to the inferno, just waiting to consume him. You've been that man. I've been that man. When we settle, when we stop trying, we suffocate our own flame. But that fire, it's still there, deep within, smoldering, buried under the rubble. It's waiting for you to breathe life back into it. It's waiting for you to remember that you are meant to burn brighter than anything around you. You can feel it in your chest, the pulse of something fierce, something untamed, pushing against the walls you've built. Fan it, roar, ignite it. You either let that fire burn you alive, or you let it light the world. So, will you stand there, letting your ashes fade into nothing? Or will you burn so bright the world can't look away? We've torn through the fog, stared down the shadows, and stoked the flames that were always meant to burn inside us. These 10 signs are not your verdict, they're your awakening. Strength isn't something you're born with. It's a savage creation, forged in the fires of your darkest moments, built from the wreckage of every failure and setback you've ever faced. You are not alone in this fight. Every one of us has stumbled, hit the ground hard, questioned our worth. But right here, right now, you get to choose. You rise. You ascend. This isn't some gentle shift. It's a raw, brutal transformation that demands every ounce of you. Like this video, drop your affirmation in the comments, share it with those who need this spark, subscribe. Let's grow, let's burn, let's transcend together. The journey to becoming the person you're destined to be isn't clean, it's not tidy, and it sure as hell won't be easy. But it's yours to claim. Stand tall, burn brighter, and show the world exactly what you're made of. You've got this, more than you'll ever know.